So I'm the sort of MC for the ceremonies today. My name is Emwick or Matt. I'll reply to either. Um, I'm just kind of like gonna be passing the torch.
Sorry, I am.
Yeah, Emily's gonna be unmuting people by request, but
But I accidentally
she's
muted
not
you.
supposed to mute me. I'm supposed to have power. That was an accident. But yeah, if you don't know me, I'm like long time CC Mixter user, so occasional artist, definitely a listener and a fan, and a sort of philosophic fellow traveler with the whole free culture movement. My role around here for the last 4 months or so has been kind of tech administration, tech development stuff. I came on end of December, and yeah, it's just been really great for me personally and professionally to like get used to how this works. Anyway, that's who I am, because there's probably several people in there that aren't familiar with me by sight or by handle. So I'm going to keep it fairly simple. The purpose of today's meeting is to give you guys a very early look at something we're calling MixterPlus, and around a specific event is called Dreaming Together, which most of you probably have an email about it, or a couple emails about it at this point. So you kind of know a little bit about it already. We're going to go into some more detail as to what's going on, how it works, and I'll just introduce the other admins if you don't know. Of course, Madam Snowflake is the boss, the head of the family. Kara Square is an admin, does super huge amount of work, like videos, things like that. Susan Joseph, SacJo22, is another admin. She's actually the lead on this Dreaming Together event, and she'll tell you why and what that organization that's putting that together is. And the other big one is, of course, Jason Brock, Spinning Merkaba at CC Mixter. And yeah, that's the, I guess that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that meet weekly. Martin Airtone is not in, is he? This Martin is Martin C. Different, yeah. Okay. He's obscured a little bit because he's backlit, so I couldn't tell if that was Airtone or not. But yeah, no, that's Martin C. Airtone may come in later, but yeah, those are the people doing sort of most of the work, and we appreciate you guys helping us take a look at this sort of next phase, and we're going to be like brainstorming with you guys hopefully pretty regularly about how to make it go smoothly and where to go from there. So if Susan's ready, I'm going to go ahead and pass the torch over to SacJo22. You can tell us about your organization and the event that you're working on.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm just going to take in those of you I can see and those of you who I can just see your name. We don't often get to just be together face to face, right? There's a whole different thing that happens when we get to see each other. So I am Susan, SacJo22, and I'm really excited to bring our community the Sounds of Dreams Dreaming Together remix event. I am part of an organization called the International Association for the Study of Dreams. And it is an international, interdisciplinary organization that brings together dreamers from all over the world and in all different disciplines to share their work about dreams. And that includes neurologists, psychiatrists, healers, artists, writers, you name it. Anybody in any field that's interested in dreams comes together through this organization to share their work. And every year they have an annual conference. So people come together in person. And part of the conference is a dream-themed art show. So it's a juried art show, and artists from all over the world submit work, and they have to be approved. And then this show is live on the campus or the space wherever the Dream Conference is. Last year, our community did an event called the Ocean Dreams event, where we did all these remixes with whale sounds that were then put together into a playlist and streamed in the art gallery. And it was such a successful event that the IASD invited us back this year. They loved what we created. They loved the ambiance. They loved our sounds and our music. And they loved that the voices of the IASD community members were brought together with the music from the CC Mixter community. Now, as an artist, that's my bag. I love bringing people together to collaborate. And I've been doing this for a long time, starting with the White Cube in 2009. And so I'm always looking for opportunities for us to create collaboratively and bring our music to different places. So this is a great opportunity for that. And so I was talking to Emily about this opportunity to do a remix event. And of course, you know, for a dream conference, one of the things we talk about is the importance of dreaming together, right? It's a big deal. Sharing dreams is a cross-cultural activity. And there's a lot of power to that. There's a lot of power to working with each other's dreams, right? Bob Dylan says, I'll be in your dream if you can be in mine. I'll let you be in my dream, something like that. I'm terrible with quotes. And so I'm starting to talk to Emily about this opportunity. And she says, well, you know, I work with this study with Tony Tenfingers, a Lakota elder and activist and teacher and dreamer. And he talked to me recently about how his community dreams and how they dream together under the stars and how they share their dreams every day and how it's part of their lifestyle. Now, her telling me this, was it a coincidence? Was it a mystery? Because it just so happens the Dream Conference is thematic. And this year, the theme of the Dream Conference is dreams in the arts and dreams in ethnicity. And so I'm like, well, wow, do you think Tony would share his dream wisdom for us to remix? And Emily says, well, I'll check in with Tony. And Tony said yes. And so here we are. We're going to be able to bring together the voices of the IASD dreamers who share their dreams, our music, anybody from our community who wants to share their dreams, Tony sharing his dreams, and being able to expand this network and this web of connection that we facilitate through our creative practice as remixers. So that's how the Sound of Dreams event came together. I can tell you that the ISD community is really excited to have us back in that space. I've started getting some dreams come in already, and I will shoot some links into the chat so you can check out the ISD. There will be a link to our last project, so you can check that out. And then I'm going to just kind of move on because we have a lot to share with you. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat because we'll do questions after. We have a lot of information to share with y'all. And so please, we want your questions, but we'll save them for the end. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and being part of this magnificent thing that we're about to create together.
Thank you, Susan. That's very good. There was a question dropped in chat. They wanted a link to last year's event. If you've got a website or something, you want to drop a link in chat and people can look at how it went last year. But yeah, other questions where we want some back and forth conversation, we'll have a big section at the end. So we'll move on. Next thing to look at. So yeah, this event that's happening, it presents some challenges because it's going to work differently from previous CC Mixter events that you guys might have been a part of. And it's an artistic new phase, and it's also in some degree an organizational new phase for our community. So the person to talk at a pretty good high level about how like big a shift we're undergoing over the course of this year is definitely the one and only Emily Richards, Madam Snowflake. You ready?
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
So this is exciting. We are creating, we are by definition a collaborative community. And so in this new phase and opportunity, we want all of you to be a part of this. We're creating something very new and different. And so having everyone in this room be part of that is really important. You're some of the most prolific and valued members of our community. And of course, there are others who weren't able to be here who will be watching this later. So why are we doing the Dreaming Together event at MixterPlus instead of on CC Mixter? And the main reason is attribution. Attribution, as you know, is really important to our community. And inside CC Mixter, we handle attribution automatically and beautifully through the remix tree. It's very important that we attribute each other. Everything we do together is a collaborative endeavor. And so as Victor, who created CC Mixter while working at Creative Commons, a foundational principle of CC Mixter was attribution is currency. And so that is a currency that we feel is especially important to honor on this event for a couple of reasons. One, we're bringing in dreamers from outside of the CC Mixter community that don't understand and know who everyone is, like we do. We've been making music together, some of us for a couple of decades. But also Tony Ten Fingers, his Lakota wisdom and his storytelling is very revered. It's a reverent story. It's a reverent subject. And there is, as you know, in the world right now, cultural misappropriation and other things that we do not want to bump up against or be part of. And so making sure that attribution follows Tony Ten Fingers' really sacred stories about his people was especially important to us. And we have been talking about the issues of attribution not following our content for many, many years. And finally, we had this opportunity where it pushed us. We need to do something about it. And so we created MixterPlus. We've been talking about it for a really long time. So maybe some of you are aware that attribution outside our community is quite broken most of the time. I don't know if you've experienced it. If you have, maybe you can give me a raise of the hand. So what, unfortunately, attribution is an on your honor sort of aspect and term of a Creative Commons license. There are only two terms of a CC by NC license. One, give me credit, and two, don't use it commercially, both of which are broken again and again and again. And we've had many members of our community leave because of this breaking of the license. And what has happened in this new era is what we're starting to call copyright imposters. So because major platforms have now automated attribution through their content ID and fingerprinting programs, it doesn't have to be on your honor. And hey, the more we can automate, as we all know, we're all pretty technical people. You need to automate things. And that's why the remix tree works so well at CC Mixter, it's automated. We have worked with the major platforms for over a decade to try to create a culture of attribution. And they thought that was too complicated. They want it to be automated. So they created Content ID. And Content ID automatically attributes content. It also, for the major labels, becomes a very important source of revenue. Well, in 2015, all Creative Commons licensed music was banned from Content ID because of its complexity. And we have been working since that time to try to find ways to make Creative Commons content work within those systems. Kara and I have especially labored for years on this, trying to find a way and we did. And we worked with a partner who is now our distributor, a guy who I used to work with back in the day when I was at Price Waterhouse, who was willing to take us on, even though we had been banned from Content ID. And we worked with them fastidiously to find a way to make this work so users who use our content wouldn't feel like they have any copyright strikes. They wouldn't confuse us with the heavy-handed labels that are, copyright. but it was a way to ensure attribution followed our music. And it worked for several years until Google basically was like, hey, you guys have Creative Commons content in there. And we tried to make it just silent and quiet and no one would notice, and nobody did. Probably none of you even knew what was happening. It was just a way to protect attribution. And so then they banned us outright. And since that time, in the last few years, what's happened is our music that was meant to be easy to share and open for creative collaboration beyond our community has been locked down because we can't attach an attribution to our content. And it's opened up these floodgates where all these other people that aren't us go in and claim to be us and claim to own the copyrights of our content, which then protects that music under copyright to someone else. And so someone else is collecting all of the royalties that they earn, not any of us as artists. And other people have claimed that currency that we asked for, which is our attribution, as theirs. And what's happened is all these people who are using Creative Commons music properly with their attribution perfectly, they're getting takedown notices because someone else has claimed to own our copyright. It is, in short, a mess. We've been working on this. I can't tell you, I've cried many a tear over this. It's been extraordinarily stressful and devastating for us as artists because it's basically derailed everything that we intended to do together, which is one, to create together and give one another attribution for that creation, and two, to create music that other people can use freely without worrying about a heavy-handed takedown notice. So we began discussions with Creative Commons over a year and a half ago, and this is why part of the reason we changed our logo and part of the reason we changed our name, because we have to experiment beyond Creative Commons licenses. Creative Commons licenses are amazing for education, for science, for archives, for content that isn't creative and from a living, breathing, collaborative, ever creating environment like ours. And Creative Commons recognized that. And we talked for a while about, well, is there a way we could help with existing Creative Commons licenses? We determined CC Mixter needs to be a pioneer. We need to pioneer something different that works for our type of community, which is quite different than what Creative Commons as an organization has focused on. And they don't have the energy or even experience. They are lawyers, they are educators, they are not creatives, they are not musicians. And that's why they turned CC Mixter over to me in 2009 when I got the phone call, hey, Emily, do you want to run CC Mixter? It was because I'm a musician. And they knew they're a bunch of lawyers and they're not musicians. They're not artists. They're not creators. And they knew they needed CC Mixter to be in the hands of a group of people that actually live and breathe and do this every day with their heart and passion. So that's why we've created MixterPlus. It is a beginning. It is an experiment. It is, as Matt says, it's alpha. It's not even beta. We're calling it a beta, but it's an alpha. And you all are the people that are going to help us create the new model for music that can be shared and collaborated, but where attribution follows. That's our goal. Attribution is currency. And hey, we're not asking much of people. We're like, hey, you can use our music for free. Just give me credit. And when that isn't happening, when the only thing we're asking is give me credit isn't happening, we know it's broken and it's time to do something else. And so that's what we're doing. And we're using this event, one, because it just was called for because of Tony Ten Fingers and people outside our community contributing to the event, but also because what perfect thing to do together when creating a very big, new, exciting way of creating and sharing music than to dream together with the people that you've created together. We've created together for almost 2 decades. I can't think of anyone else I would rather dream with than you guys. And so it's like, here's the canvas, we've set up some parameters, but your input and feedback on how this unfolds and how we do this together is imperative. And it's an open channel, and we're going to do another one of these in a couple of weeks. So let's dream together. Let's dream something that's, inspired by our foundation, which is Creative Commons licenses, but let's take it to a new level. Let's adapt to a changing world. And part of that is we need to be able to be in content ID, so attribution follows our music. And we've had many discussions with our partners and with these platforms, and the only way we can do that, we can't use Creative Commons licenses. So we're creating MixterPlus licenses that act like Creative Commons licenses, but aren't. And that's the journey. So we're going to come back to this, but I think now it's Kara's turn.
Yeah, Kara's going to go into the weeds just a little bit more on what Emily was just mentioning, which is like a new way of licensing things. Right now, they're being described as sort of a terms of use for this event. So we've got a little, when you first get into your interface for MixterPlus, there'll be just, I agree to the terms. You should have an email with links. I think Kara's going to read over and look at sort of the most important pieces that you need to know. The most important piece I think that you need to know is that this is not the 10 commandments that we brought down from the mountaintop. This is like our kind of draft of how we think we're going to make this work going forward. And you guys are here because we want to see if this works for your own processes. And we've got really great work that's been done by Emily and Jason, Kara, and Susan, everyone. And Kara's going to show you some of the important details on that. You want to screen share it, Kara, I think?
Yeah. Let's screen share. Okay. Do. Okay, why are you screen one? Let's do this. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this will work right. Okay, so are you seeing Artist Tech Media here? Okay, cool. Okay, so I welcome you all to go and check out artisttechmedia.com. The emails that we shared with you have links to this site, and we've expanded upon it and some things that you may or may not have seen at this point. If you go to the right heading over here, MixterPlus, you'll see a whole expanded menu where we've added a bunch of stuff. I'm going to move my little zoomy thing here. Okay, here we go. Starting with the MixterPlus FAQ. So Emily has already touched base on a lot of this, but we highly encourage you to read through it and give us your input. If there's something that you'd like to add, or just you have some thoughts about any of the particular items, please do email us and let us know what you think, because you really are part of beta here. And in fact, based on this FAQ that we shared, a community member, Spec, reached out with some awesome questions that we really wanted to answer and dive deep into. So we created this page based on his questions. And Emily's already touched a lot of the points, but this really does get into kind of the nitty gritty of why MixterPlus. So read it, check it out, ask your questions, give us input. One thing I want to point out for sure is this last paragraph highlights what the relationship will be going forward between MixterPlus and CC Mixter, and kind of our vision and our dreams about it. So check that out too. So that's an important thing to look at. You'll also find the MixterPlus terms of use and the MixterPlus privacy policy, both of which are very, very similar to CC Mixter's. But, definitely read them. That's always important stuff. What I'm going to talk about with you in more detail right now is the MixterPlus license. So it is indeed a beta or alpha, however you want to call it. But so the cool thing about MixterPlus is there will only be one license. This is largely because we've had a lot of feedback from outside of the CC Mixter community that, man, it's so complicated. CC BY NC, CC0, what is this music? So everything on MixterPlus is going to have the same license. So that's a really important thing about this new model. Community use is free on MixterPlus. So we're going to create together in the same way that we always have on CC Mixter. You can download, adapt, remix, upload, and share on MixterPlus, just like you always have. What is different is, so we've always given credit and we've always done a great job with the remix tree, but a little later, Matt's going to tell you how we're making it better. He has devised something just so cool. And the attribution is going to be better. We're going to give credit to the next level. And then another thing we're going to talk about a little more later, Emily and I, is group copyright and what that means. So this is kind of the base is how we create together. Then content creator use. It will be free on social media. Okay, so like Emily's already mentioned before, we're going to use Content ID to claim the artist portion of music when it's used in projects. So for instance, on YouTube, we'll use their Content ID system, but we're not going to be the types who are like issuing copyright strikes. We're not going to be doing takedowns of people's videos. What it will be is a claim on the music portion of the video and just our music portion, because there could be other music in that same video, but it's that piece. By doing this through Content ID, it will automatically give credit to you, to the artists on the video. So like under the YouTube description box, you'll see, and I'm sure you've even seen this on videos, it'll say the music. And so this is automatically when there is a match through Content ID, it already gives credit. So that's a huge thing. Now, of course, we are going to have add-on licenses. If you're familiar, and most of you are here with CC Plus, how we did it on CC Mixter, this is very similar in that when it's a professional use, when it's something that the use of our music is generating income, if it's a sponsored channel, branded media, fundraiser, et cetera, they can purchase a license for any of those types of monetized projects. So this is what you're seeing on the screen is a simplified version. We're going to get into the details of that in the near future. And then another thing that will be coming in the very near future is, or at least the near future, is venue use. So that's going to be another type of license that professionals can purchase. So restaurant stores will be able to use our music when they purchase a venue use license. And those are the components of the MixterPlus license.
Great.
Oh, I should
All right.
have stopped my screen share. Boop.
Thank you, Kara. Yeah. So yeah, if we didn't scare you away with legalese there, Jason is going to join us. Spinning Merkaba is the name. He's going to talk about how you get in on this event. Obviously, you all have been invited to the Zoom call, but you can also invite others. And I think he's going to just go over a couple other things of that nature. So you ready?
Yeah. I'm kind of ready. I don't know. Am I ready?
You look ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go
How's
ahead.
everybody doing? How's everybody out there? Y'all there? All right. How do we get involved with the event? Is that what I'm answering?
Oh, I think so. That's what I had on my list, but you can say whatever you want.
Well, I think the best way to get involved in the event is to probably create some music and upload it to the new platform that you built, right? Which I am going to work on today. I'm actually trying to get my studio ready here to record My Dream, Pell, and some samples. I think Matt, you'd probably be more capable of answering the actual logistics of how to do the upload process since you did most of the work building that. But
yeah,
I think we're here.
But what about like inviting other people? How should people, if they've got a friend who wants to join, what is the best way for them to get an invite?
To email us.
Yeah.
No? Is that the right answer?
I don't know. We might have a forum post. We might have a forum thread.
That's another thing
We
I'm
have
working
that.
on. I don't see anything on the Mixter site yet. However, in the email, we are basically accepting people, anyone who wants to get involved that is a member of CC Mixter can just email probably Emily or me or anybody on the team, and we will make sure that you're guided through the process that is being built to make this event happen.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else you want to add? You're
Um,
trying to see if anything is in chat.
I don't see anything in the
I think
chats.
we're good. Okay.
I think the only thing that I have really to add is that you know, part of this is just the fact that we're all here right now in this space, working with each other, collaborating on a new chapter in this journey that we've been on in remix culture. You know, a lot has changed around us as we've been remixing through CC Mixter, which Emily brought up with the licensing issues and just, you know, Web3 technology. All of these things have been, you know, morphing and growing and changing, and we're making that shift now to address some of the issues that came up with that. And we're doing it the way that we've done it at CC Mixter pretty much the whole way through. We're doing it together in community, sharing, growing, learning, being transparent. And I think that's probably the best way to go. So that's all I have to add to that. I'm going to play some guitar and do some recordings and take part in this event and have as much fun as I can along the way, which is, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And I'll write about it. I'll write about it. So if there's anything that that's another thing while we're here is that, you know, my main job, I guess, if it is a job description, would be to like post in the forums and to write blog posts about what we're doing and how this is unfolding. So if you have any ideas, any content, anything that you'd like to see addressed on that sort of public front facing side of what we're doing, then you know, send me an email.
Yep. All right.
Or you know, whatever. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Spinning Macabre. Yeah, someone asked if the CC Mixter site would continue. You guys may rest assured ccmixter.org is going to exist for as long as we possibly can make it exist. It's I was talking to Emily just a week or maybe a couple of weeks ago. I was exposed to some of the old back catalog, and I wouldn't trade CC Mixter's sort of legacy catalog of music for any label's catalog that has ever existed. It's so great. It will always be available if we have anything at all to say about it. So we're going into a sort of experimental phase where we try and figure out what else we can do and how we can help people get what they really want out of this community. So yes, this is an additional project. This is not replacing CC Mixter. Shah has arrived. Yay. It's good to know. Yeah, you probably want to see what it looks like, and that's kind of my job here for the next few minutes. So let's go to it. You ready? That's the old one. This is the MixterPlus draft. It's super early beta. It's super minimal. And so far, all the functionality is just around what we need in order to get this event put together and successful. You'll all be receiving a special link as an email, probably later today, maybe tomorrow. It'll be essentially a link to this page, but with a special token in the URL up here. So when you get that token, that will allow you to set. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a screen share. I don't know if anyone else is.
Oh my goodness. I forgot to share the screen. That's an important part of it.
It's very exciting. We're all like very nervous, by the way.
I'm super nervous.
I'm super nervous.
All right, I'll share my entire screen. because I have nothing to hide. Okay, everyone can see it now. I think we good. All right,
We see the Zoom. There we go.
there it is. So yeah, this is the MixterPlus landing page right now. Names that you use at CC Mixter, you'll get an invite. It'll be a link to this page with a special token that allows you to set a password. So you can set it to the same one that you use at CC Mixter, but you will have to set it for this interface because there's not really a single sign-on type thing where that you can be automatically logged in here if you're logged in at ccmixter.org. So yeah, shouldn't be too much to remember. Have your browser save it after you set the password. And yeah, that is a little bit of an additional step, just setting a password for this project. And some of you have already put samples in, so you probably already got instructions on how to do this. As far as uploading samples for this event, you would go same way you do at CC Mixter, not manage files, submit files, submit samples. The important things here are that you always need to use the Dreaming Together tag. And you uncheck the publish now. So the reason is that these samples are not going to be available on the CC Mixter site because of the new way that they're being licensed, the way that we're being given the right to use them. We can't publish them on CC Mixter with the Creative Commons license. So it'll be selected here, but you can not worry about that. It's not going to be stored as a licensed CC piece of music. So other than that, everything else is the same you guys have been doing for years, your name, so on. But make sure you add that Dreaming Together tag and make sure you uncheck the publish now. And then the fun part. There are already lots of uploads for this event for us to view at Mixter.plus. Oh, one note here, Mixter.plus is not yet HTTPS. It's unsecured. We're working on the SSL certificate for that. So it'll be secured soon, but there's nothing sensitive in there. So we're okay just doing it unsecured for now. Anyway, this is currently just a list of all the tracks. You have to be logged in to view these. You do not have to be logged in to view the playlist, which looks like this. If you've done a Mixter event before, this might look a little familiar because the kind of the styling, the simplified just playlist is, you know, kind of copied over from the old mix-ups that we used to do. I'm going to actually take a look in the Zoom chat and see if there's any questions or something that anybody wants me to click back on. But as I said, it's quite minimal. We're keeping it to a very simplified interaction. Can we redefine our CC Mixter tracks to ID capable? We will have eventually a migration process where if you want to make some of your CC Mixter catalog available at MixterPlus, we will, you know, work on making that.
I'm going to address that.
Yeah.
And then I want you to show them the remix tree, but just
Yeah.
since we're let's see. Can I just stop your share for a minute?
Yeah, stop.
So with our, you stop your share, Matt. Here, I got it.
Oh, I have to stop it.
There we go.
Okay.
So in this process that I've worked on for years, right now, so in the beginning, we were like, hey, can we just change the licenses? And there is such a taboo, unfortunately, and it's just so heartbreaking, but there's such a taboo around Creative Commons licensed content in the world of all the social media platforms that they wanted us to use. At first, we were going to try to just add new licenses to ccmixter.org. And they're like, nope, it needs to be completely different URL. You need to have a different brand. Because what's happened is users, other creators who use our music, think Creative Commons means no copyright. And they're not the same. And we know that there's a difference between a license, which allows free use under certain terms, and no copyright, which is basically public domain and nobody owns it. And that's, so the world at large, that's the feedback we have received. And so right now at CC Mixter, we cannot move anything over. We have to create a whole new library and establish ourselves and our new model. So that Googles and Metas and TikToks feel like their user base understands how it works. Because right now their feedback is their user base does not understand. And that's the feedback we've received. So we have to, MixterPlus, it's a separate world, new library. And with this library, we're being very, very conservative. It has to be all original content, no like loops that you buy, prefabricated melodies, no AI, because they haven't, at least in the United States, right now the ruling is you can't copyright AI content. And so we are going to use copyright. And copyright, I know for many of us, I have been giving my music away since 1998 on mp3.com. I am like one of the digital pioneers for free music in the world. Copyright gives me anxiety, but we have to use it or we can't be in any of these programs. And it's the only way that these platforms are like, if you want attribution to go with your music and you don't want anyone else to come in and say they own it, then you have to use the law that is established, which is copyright law. And so that's why we've come up with group copyright, which Kara and I are going to talk about in a minute. So will we eventually be able to port our CC Mixter library over? That is our hope. Once we establish and come up with this new model together with all new content, so we make sure there is like a fork. Our goal is we will establish this new model together that will be easy for other people to understand, other creators and other users, and then we'll be able to go back and port in part of our other library. That's our goal. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know how it's going to work. We're on this journey together. We're dreaming together. So when I dream about this, I dream, yes, we have this very valuable library of music that is powerful and beautiful and amazing and used everywhere. And other people shouldn't be able to say that they wrote it and close it off to the world. I mean, that's just, it's a crime. Do we have a legal battle on our hands? Maybe, but we can't fight that. We're all volunteers. We have no money. We're a bunch of musicians, as Haskell's Pell said, nobody made any money. Like, that's not what we're doing here. We don't have those kinds of funds. So hopefully, eventually, this will be something that's going to be fixed on the world stage, because it's not just us that has this problem. So I know like that's a roundabout. I don't know if that answers that question. Eventually, our goal is by doing this, we're going to learn, we're going to create something new, we're going to figure this out together, and then by what we learn together, that will give us the tools and the data and the model to go back and fix CC Mixter. Are they going to run in parallel for right now? Yeah, they're going to run in parallel. And CC Mixter will just run as it is. I'm going to open Pandora's box, and I'm doing it for this group. We have talked about moving CC Mixter to CC0 only. And that's one of the things we'd love your input on. We're not doing it right now, but the reason why, because then artists who upload aren't going to ask the world to give them attribution. They're going to be okay with knowing they don't get attribution. So if you're going to upload something to CC Mixter, I'm not going to be able to, attribution cannot be insured. Attribution cannot be preserved, because CC BY and CC BY NC licenses are basically dishonored by all the major platforms, and they have been banned. So we can't preserve attribution. So when you upload something and you expect, that's part of the license. I've given you this license, and I know it's fucking awful. Excuse the language. It's awful. I'm telling you, I have cried so many times over this. It's heartbreaking. But what are we going to do? We are problem solvers. We are creators. We are creatives. And we're going to solve this together. And we're going to keep making music, because that's what it's about. So right now, there are a lot of unanswered questions. So back to Matt, because we want to show you Because MixterPlus attribution is currency just went like, we're attribution on steroids. We're going to set the example for the world. What does attribution look like? And how does it become as automated as possible? And Matt has created a really cool new remix tree option, and boom, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do Q&A maybe to dig into issues. I know that we have like a pretty wide variety of opinions about copyright in general. Some people lean more to the just outright copyright abolitionist side, and some people, have different views, more like sort of traditional views and so on. But yeah, we want everyone to feel like they're in this conversation. Nothing about CC Mixter licenses has been decided; it's just being discussed. So, but yeah, we'll do more detail about that in Q&A. If I might say one thing real quick, because I know we have a lot of international people here, at least in the US, copyright attaches automatically to a thing when it's recorded. So it's not necessarily the case in every single country, but at least in the US, it's not like you have to go do something to get copyright on it. Literally, you have it. And then the permission that you give other people to use it is something you have to explicitly start doing by releasing it with a generous license or something. Anyway, so that's just something for people to chew on if they weren't aware of that sort of interesting aspect of US copyright law. Anyway, I'll go back to my demo. I'm going to cross my fingers that it works. You guys are all beta testers, so we're going to give you a link to an issue and bug tracking sheet there. Anytime anyone sees something awry, go ahead and paste a little description of what you see, and we'll get this shored up. Okay, I don't see any major questions in the chat, so I'll go back to this. So this is our playlist. This will be public facing. You will not need to be logged in order to see the playlist. Oh, y'all Zoom experts are laughing at me. I know you are. This is not a tool I use on a daily basis, but here we go. So yeah, this will be the sort of public facing view of the sort of output of the event. This is the list view. What else should we look at? This is the thing that Emily really wants me to show. Again, it's
I'm not
cool.
seeing.
We don't see anything, Matt.
We're seeing just a blank black screen.
Huh.
So when you go into share screen, select your browser, maybe.
Yeah, I thought I did that. I'm trying to share an entire screen. Allow.
There we go.
Any better? Yay. All right. It's all right. So yeah, on this little view that you land on, it's called My Tracks. When you log in, it's got your upload a new remix. And this is where things get fun and interesting. I will put junk in here, bits per minute. This is pretty standard. But yeah, when we're doing remixes now, we have an improved remix tree. The sources for this event are all here. Let's do our tones. I know that's got some stems, so that'll be cool. And maybe these guys. So I'm just defining these two sources from the event as my samples for this remix. This is kind of familiar. I think you have this already at CC Mixter. You want to add tags. These are suggested tags. We'll probably put a bunch more in here later, but yeah, standard so far. And second page is where things get pretty interesting. I tried to do a small little MP3 file so that it would happen quickly. All right, so we need to work on upload speeds, I guess. All right, I've changed my mind and I'm not going to put an MP3 in here. All right. See if this works a lot faster if I don't add an MP3. I obviously have some work to do on that. And this is what we're calling the more accurate remix tree. So instead of just saying that Divergencies by Airtone was remixed by me, it actually lists out the parts, and you can check and uncheck exactly which parts you used. And what it's doing down here is giving you attribution. Now, if Airtone's remix was itself a remix of another track, it'll actually drill down into the things that it was a remix of, and you can include or uninclude things from that grandparent, great grandparent mix, and so on. Obviously, for this event, we only have sort of one level deep, but yeah, this sort of infinitely expands any pieces or parts that are in remixes that you're remixing that have been remixed, and so on. You basically tell it exactly what you used. For some reason, it's checking 2 boxes at a time, and it builds what we're calling the group attribution thing. So this is based on the things you check and uncheck. In this case, it's Airtone, Emwick, and Piero Peluche. If I uncheck that, his stuff is no longer in here. So Airtone and Emwick are the only ones in the group copyright attribution. We have this special thing if you have a non-CC Mixter collaborator. My friend Richard helped me write this. You would put it in here. If it's not a CC Mixter handle, you would include it just in this kind of free text box. Let's see how disastrously unclear that was the way that I explained it. I'm going to go ahead and open the field for questions and see if anybody wants me to go back in and touch on any aspect of that interface. The tree info is saved in our database. So essentially, you've already probably seen, when you're looking at a track details on CC Mixter, it shows you this is remixed in such and such, and this is a remix of, and you can actually see a full sort of history of all the pieces that went into that remix. So it's us storing that kind of genealogical tree of all the tracks that end up at MixterPlus. And by bringing down the granularity of it to the individual stems and parts and pieces, we make the attribution correct and more accurate. So we're calling it the more accurate remix tree, or the MART. That's a fun name for it. But yeah, if someone does a remix and they've done a PEL, and then you do a remix of that, but you don't use the part that had the voice in it, then that person who did the PEL is actually not in your track. The way CC Mixter currently works, every parent of every parent of every parent of every parent is included as an artist in the tree. So we're just trying to give people the option of making it quite clear who will sort of have that sort of group copyright interest in this track, which allows us to distribute any sort of royalties or whatever that come up in a fair way.
So a little bit about group copyright and why we came up with that term, group copyright, is one, we wanted. Creative Commons is never taken the place of copyright, and we all know that within our community. And maybe just in case you don't, you always own the copyright to whatever you contribute to CC Mixter. And any under Creative Commons license, it's a copyright license. So if I remix Kara owns the copyright to her PEL, and I own the copyright to Waya, and together we have a group copyright. It's just not called that. And so we decided to call it what it is, which is group copyright, to help with users who use our music, for them to understand, yes, this is covered under copyright. We own our copyright. So other people can't go in and say, oh, well, no one's claiming this, and Creative Commons people can't claim their own copyright, so I'm going to claim their copyright. That's what's happening now. So we have to assert and make it clear to our audience of creators using our music, yes, we do own our copyrights, and we own them together. So every track together, we together hold that copyright. And on YouTube, for example, if someone uses one of our tracks, well, they own the copyright of what they add in their video. If they create music, their video, they don't own their copyright. We only own the copyright to our piece, just the way it works on CC Mixter. You only own the copyright to what you created, and I own the copyright what I created, and together we own the copyright and we make it available under Creative Commons license. Our feedback from the world at large is that's way too confusing, and people don't understand the difference between a license and copyright. So we are making it very clear. This is a group copyright. I know that might be triggering for some people because copyright has become a nasty word. We have to reframe that, and we have to show the world we're still who we are. And this is going to be one of our challenges. And we're going to really appreciate your help with that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on the group copyright, Kara? Because that's why Matt has made that automatic, and it says group copyright. So part of what we need to do is we have to educate these user bases about what group copyright is and how important attribution is by making it automatic. They don't have to go and try to dig through the remix tree and add who are the artists and how does this work? It's just boom. The other thing, before I give Kara a chance, what we're going to do when we submit this MixterPlus library with the group copyright is there will be an ISRC code assigned to every individual remix. So that will enable us to identify, and Kara and I have beta tested this in Content ID in their CMS for years. So we listened, Kara specifically, and I gotta give her like kudos, listened to thousands and thousands and thousands of music tracks and videos to identify which remix was Loop's remix of Susan, and which was Mr. Yesterday's remix, and which was you get what I'm saying. Like there's so many permutations of how many different remixes. So that is going to be tedious, and we're going to be doing that.
Right.
That's because we love you and we love our music, and it's just part of what we have to do. In this event, it's really, really important. We cannot use the CC Mixter library. Dad, we have to use only this library because it has to be very clean. We are establishing a new model. I wish I could use AI.
Hopefully.
Able to. That would be amazing.
Actually, I expect that within a year or two, you'll be able to tell an AI, find me all the YouTube videos that contain this piece of music, and it will.
Yeah.
I'm curious though. I kind of want to do a poll for chat here because a thing happened to me for the first time last year. It was last summer, which I think has happened to a large number of CC Mixter artists, which is I had a YouTube video that incorporated a song that I had put on CC Mixter as a remix, I think, of Airtone, or it might have been the other way around, his remix of me or something. But I was definitely like the creator of this music. And I think a Kara's song, there was a Kara song in it as well. And what happened is that a channel popped up, pulled that music, made videos, just kind of like screensaver looking videos of a bunch of tracks, including this one that I had uploaded like years before, like 8 years before. It wasn't even close, right? And then hit my video with a copyright strike for using their music. And it wasn't Billy Bob Joe in his basement. It was like a subsidiary of Warner Music Group, right? So they are doing this kind of stuff systematically. And I'm curious how many times that has happened to any of the people who are here on this call. I think that's happened to Kara, right?
Oh goodness, yes, a lot of times. It's very frustrating. Yep. What about anyone else?
Someone's saying
Shaw, it's happened to Shaw. I know it's happened to Susan, to Sakjo. We've run into it. I know it's happened to Snowflake.
For me, like I'm not
sure.
like a super popular artist on CC Mixter or anything, but to me it was very disconcerting. I'm like, they're actually trying to like pull things like as if they own, as it's just like, I don't know, it just really shook me up. Yeah, Emily's.
Yeah. I mean, it's song stealing, I mean, it's exactly what's happening. Yeah. I really think you covered it, Emily, the importance of group copyright. I don't think I have anything to add. Are there any questions specific to this concept before we move on? I think everyone's good then.
I'm actually going to take an opportunity now. I'm going to go ahead and paste in the bug reporting document that we're going to use. It's just a Google Doc spreadsheet. It's here. And yeah, anyone, when you get your emails and you try and log in and you have any issues at all with the interface, like I said, it's 2 or 3 little bits of functionality. So we're expecting it to be nice and clean and work well. But obviously you saw I had an issue uploading my MP3. I'm not sure what that was about. Anyway, I've got work to do, obviously. And yeah, anyone else who like sees something wrong, just let us know by just putting a line in that sheet, and we'll kind of circle around to it at least daily to try and like make sure we get the super important stuff taken care of.
I love that. I think it was Dave that called us renegades. Did you say that? The renegades of funk. Yes. I mean, what's exciting, I can't think of a better group of people. And by the way, Sean, we're so happy to have you. You know, Sean is relatively new to our community. You might have seen him like kind of taking the uploads by storm under Wiseman. But he's been an admin of other music communities. And so it's great to have his experience and expertise. And he set up an incredible Discord channel for CC Mixter that I'm sure, you know, we will share as we work on it together and make sure the messaging is in alignment with what's happening now. So it's a changing world. Again, just just please help us in this beta. We have to be as conservative as possible, only content from these uploads, no prefabricated loops, no prefabricated melodies, no like, hey, I bought this loop. Because if anyone else has used that and can claim it in Content ID, we can't get kicked out again. If we get kicked out again, we're done. We'll never, you know, like we're trying to create a new model and we're being given this chance. And it's a big responsibility on behalf of musicians around the world. But I feel like we're qualified to do it. And if there's anyone who's going to do it, it will be us. And that comes back to the creative component, which is we are dreaming together. Literally, we are going to dream. We are manifesting and visioning and creating something that we know is going to work better for musicians because we are musicians. And we understand how major labels treat us, which Shaw and I have talked about. And we know how the tech companies have treated us. And we're somewhere in this no man's land. And at first, the tech companies were our friends. I've been part of these tech companies. I've run them. And in the beginning, like we were trying to create music in partnership with tech companies. And that's why we made it free, because we wanted to help tech companies be able to build their platforms and have content to use. At least that's what I did. I worked in partnership with them. Well, they've gotten very big. And now they're in front in relationship with the majors. And who got left out again? Us, independent artists. And so how do we keep those values that that are foundational to CC Mixter? And that's what our challenge is going to be. And we're going to dream it together. And in the end, it's all about the music. That's why we're here. You know, you are all super talented musicians, each one of you in this room, and like incredible musicians. And we're the ones making the music. So let's let the music be our vehicle for dreaming this into reality. And through the music that we create, because in the conversations I've had with Hawk, they're like, well, you're just gonna have to create a whole new library. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna be a problem for our community. I mean, we are prolific music creators. I mean, look at how much, music is uploaded every day in our small little group of people. I mean, how many tracks have each of you uploaded? And you're like relatively new to the community and you're freaking prolific. Shaw, we had a year where you were the most remixed artist on the site. Look at how many times Susan's White Cube was remixed. So the music is what it's about. And I just want to remind us as we get into all this nitty gritty and it's overwhelming. And yes, Dave, it's big. This is big. But at the same time, let's just remember it's about music and keep it there. And I think maybe Susan is just going to remind us about the dreams, let's dream. And I think you might have had something, Susan.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Right. We had some Q&A time scheduled here. Do you want to let people get unmuted and ask questions for a little bit here?
Yeah, so if you have a question, either you can raise your hand visually, or if you want to raise your hand in the reactions, you can raise hand, and we'll just go one at a time. Anybody has any comments, questions, you just want to say, yeah, this is badass, or
If you want to say, hey, how do I join Patreon? Right. That's our favorite question. Obviously,
I
like
got my tote yesterday,
I have not got my tote yet.
and I got my t-shirt. I was gonna
Very
wear
cool.
it, but I wanted to wash it first.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
One
Me
thing
too.
Emily and
That's
I
great. Thank you, Kara. And thank you, Matt, by the way. We should all just take a moment to thank Matt for building this. I mean, it is complicated. He's been working his guts out to build this. And to Martin, who is not here, Airtone Martin, for all the design and the graphics. And I mean, it's our community. We are doing this. The artists of CC Mixter are doing this, not some other outside, not a bunch of legal warriors and not a bunch of VCs and business people. This is us as artists know what we need, and because we do this every day. And so thanks to Matt, because he has been a part of our community since 2009. So he knows how it works, and he's building this and based on what he knows that we need. So does anybody have anything they want to say? Anybody want to chime in? I'll happily unmute you.
Yeah.
Dave? Got anything?
Wiseman is looking at his other computer.
Okay, I'm asking Dave.
And Dave's on mute.
Yeah, I just went and got the unmute thing. No, actually, I asked most of my questions on the chat, and all of them have been answered. So hopefully, if people are interested in those kind of specifics, they'll see it on the recording, or they can go to the chat. But mainly, it was about the getting really clear, clean slate moving forward, because a lot of us have posted elsewhere. We've used material. I've been pushing my material out by various channels for quite a while, usually just CC, BY. And that means it's a bunch of places. And it was really, I think, clear. I think Kara answered. We're not going to use that stuff for this exercise, for this period while you're breaking a new license, et cetera. We're going to stay clean. And that's going to be hard for a lot of us, right? Because we've got libraries of stuff that we use all the time. And so, for example, I've got, bridge recordings that were taken in, and they've been converted into things I've loaded into an old Roland synth. Those samples are there. I use them all the time. So I need to be clear. I'm not going to use those. I'm going to stick with the dream, the dreamscape. Okay, so we'll enter this dream and stay there. It's a good metaphor, right? There may be external interruptions. Kara's cat, for example, Martin's bird. Those things will be in our dreams. Hopefully they don't fall under those restrictions. Anyway, thanks for answering questions. I feel good.
Okay.
I feel like I'd like to address part of Dave's question, and we'll need you, Emily, for this. So one of it was if you've posted or shared something, say on Free Sounds or something like that. So even though it's your sample or field recording or whatever it be, it for now should not be used on MixterPlus, correct, Emily?
Yeah, just like what
Okay.
you're saying, Dave. It's clean.
Right, because it's out there, and someone may have used it.
That's right.
And may not have attributed it to you and slapped a copyright on it. So now all of a sudden you'll have the same old problem you've had all along. So
That's right.
right.
Okay.
So think of it as we are prolific artists. We have I mean, I don't know about y'all, but one of my
To make new stuff.
My favorite
Boom.
thing is to make new music.
Boom.
But let's just use this as an opportunity to make new stuff.
Right. Good.
I know I have yes, of course, just like you, Dave, I have libraries and libraries of things on my hard drive and on external hard drives and
Right.
old laptops. But okay, this is an opportunity as musicians, as super highly creative people, we're just gonna make new stuff. I mean, that's our answer is we'll just we'll make a whole new library that no one has claimed anywhere. And for now, like I saw Shaw asking, will this make it easier for us to do releases in the future? Yes. right now. Please don't use anything that you've released, and please don't release anything that you put on MixterPlus. We will together collaboratively come up with a release from this project.
Right.
And maybe multiple releases. Like Tony Ten Fingers, for example, he wants to release a scored audiobook, which is why I talked to Aunt about, okay, for his long pel, Aunt, will you create a cinematic score? This is what Aunt does. So create a cinematic score that goes with this 10-minute dream. Another thing we've talked about that we haven't done yet is, hey, like in a secret mixer, you get a specific person. So nobody's, you know who you're going to remix. So for this event, it might be helpful. And we don't have a forum yet, and we don't have reviews. We don't have a lot of that, but maybe we'll just create a page like, hey, I'm going to remix this one. So we don't all remix the same person. I'm going to use this sample pack. Like Susan's already used the spec sample pack that spec uploaded. So we try to create diversity amongst the uploads. And so we can create a really cool release that is every single one of Tony Ten Fingers pels. There are 4. No, you did 4, right, Susan? You did 3, and I have 1. So there are 4. She has multiple from her dreamers. I encourage each of you to upload a spoken word or a sung melody of your dream. What's your dream? Share your dream. And so, maybe we coordinate together so we aren't all remixing the same thing. And then we'll come up with a release, and we'll come up with it together. And maybe we'll have multiple. We'll have one for Tony, and we'll have one for Shaw, and we'll have one for Sacjo 22. I mean, like the world's our oyster, but we'll coordinate that together. And then we'll have releases, and then they'll be assigned an ISRC code, and they'll be fingerprinted. And, we used to think I remember being completely against fingerprinting for many, many years. Well, it's a different world now. And so we got to overcome some of these old stigmas. Like we have to use these tools, because if we don't, we will have no open music left, because everyone will claim it and will lock it down. It's completely the antithesis of what we started out trying to do. So is that clear? Like, don't release it anywhere. Don't use anything you've released or published or uploaded anywhere else. This is like a super clean, like all of us are in this little private club together. And for this experiment, you had a question, Sean?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, 2 questions. What defines a release? Is it anything that's gone out on the internet at all? Uploaded on a FTP somewhere? Okay. That's a release. So nothing. It shouldn't have left my computer at all before.
I mean, just for right now, we're being especially safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're going to be like I've been having conversations with Chef about AI. Please don't use AI right now, because AI is controversial, and in US copyright law, they're saying you can't copyright something that wasn't made by a human. So because we don't know yet, and hey, we've been making music without AI for like 20 years, so you don't need it right now. Like, just do it without. I know it's fun and shiny and exciting, but do you really need to have Chat GPT write your lyrics? Please just don't right now. Like you're a capable person, like write your own beautiful lyrics and write your own song like you have for 20 years. Yes, Sean.
Yeah, as an electronic music producer, I work a lot with samples. I cut them, I mix them up, I throw them around, and so when you say no bought samples at all, for me, that means a big difference in how I produce music. So also there, at what point is it? I mean, if I need a kick.
Right, that's different. So individual sounds in a VST, individual sounds in a sample that you program into your controller and create melodies from and create loops from, that's fine. Because somebody can't copyright a kick sound, but if it's a loop that was pre-purchased, so does that make sense? There's a difference between a VST and individual sample sounds. That's fine. You can't copyright a kick drum sound.
But a loop that is half the speed reversed and then glitched, so it cuts like this all the way. Is it still not allowed?
I mean, I would say if you can not do that, I think it would be cleaner. It just, the cleaner we are in this early beta, the better. You just, if you can, yes, it would be better if you don't do that. Because if it's a sample, if you sampled somebody, I mean, there is, somebody will say like, oh, that's what that is. And there are people who can figure it out, like our very own Epoxode. It's amazing how he'll do that. And we'll be like, he handles like all of this for us. Be like, yeah, I found somebody's using this loop that was made by Spec, and I can tell they very sped it. And I mean, it's incredible. So it's better if you don't do that.
And in fact, that exact thing, people have taken one of our songs, and this has happened so many times, made it slower and claimed it as their own, and they're claiming in content ID. So yeah, that's why it matters that we're so ridiculously clean at this stage. But already Pierre Peluche has uploaded some drum samples for you to do that same thing with on MixterPlus. So there's awesome drummers in our community who can hook you up with drums that he recorded the samples himself. He made the loops. And there's a lot of us out there who can do that, and you can do that. So, there you go.
As an opportunity, this is an opportunity to stretch your artistry. Susan.
Well, I was just about to say that this is a creative opportunity. I love Looperman. Okay, Looperman is my best friend, and it makes me so sad that Looperman can't be part of this project with me. Because I really rely on Looperman. So I really appreciate the significance of having a fresh start. It's like we're building a new room on the house, on the CC Mixter house, and we want to make sure that all the joints fit properly together. And so I really understand the importance of having this clean library. And I also appreciate the creative challenge of doing things from scratch in a way.
Thanks, Susan. I was going to see Christian or Bjorn. So Looped, these guys are prolific in the sounds that they create. I don't know exactly, are all your sounds original? Is this going to be challenging for y'all? Or, I mean, I am hopeful that you're going to create sample packs for us that that we can use for this very purpose.
Bjorn says nope. I think he means nope. It's not challenging.
No, it's not challenging. We juggle often around with loops, but there's no need for loops.
There you go. So we have people like Bjorn and Christian in our community who this is what they do. They create this is the power of CC Mixter. And our library is we have artists who create drum sounds and loops and individual cool killer, synthesizer sounds. And so we're going to rely on each other more than some of the other tools or Looperman. So, we need to get Septahelix in here, and Darkroom, who left, great at making loops. So yes, Sean.
I'm sorry for repeating myself, but you might have noticed that by my mails. But if I use a VST or a contact library of a sampled saxophone and I play it then it's usable.
Yes.
If I cut out one note of a long saxophone loop and use that one note with the big reverb, then that's a no.
Well, what do you think, Kara?
I'm not going to give legal advice here, but I will say that something to keep in mind is the way copyright should work does not often bear much relation to the way it actually works in practice. So you were talking about like an individual kick drum sound, should be freely usable by everyone and so on. And that is true. And if you went to court and had a big fight about it, you would almost certainly establish your right to use this sound. But that doesn't mean people wouldn't decide to give you a hard time over some of this. For example, I just watched a couple of weeks ago, like an hour and a half long video by this UK YouTuber named H Bomber guy, and he was analyzing the history of the Roblox oof sound. When Roblox is this game, and there's this like specific little oof sound in Roblox, and someone who thinks that they like own that sound is trying to get like $35 million out of Roblox over this like less than half a second long sound. So yeah, it should be perfectly fine, to cut a note out of a loop. And
I think the difference here is that probably no one can claim where it actually came from, that oof sound. But I actually buy the loop from like Loop Cloud. I buy it from them. I cut it up. The legal, I'm supposed to own it.
Now,
really,
are you?
But I do understand I know I'm not supposed to own it fully, but the right to use it. But I do understand the problematics and the way you want to move it with this different way. So I understand it. I just want to figure it out.
Well, the problem is if someone else can do that as well, because then, and Kara and I saw this, someone like one of our artists was using prefabricated loops. Well, what happens is if anyone else uses that loop in their remix, then it's in like 1,000 other tracks and it confuses it. Like, well, which track is it? And Content ID does not want to be bothered with that. And that's part of the reason they kicked out Creative Commons licenses, is because of the complexity, because so many people are using, and yes, and other people are using loops like this, but we're really just, for now, trying to make this, and this is the reason why in Matt's screen show, the name of MixterPlus, we have as our byline, Original Music Collective, and also for creators who come eventually to use our music. Hey, you know what? This isn't anywhere else. This is a really special library of music that was created just by these musicians. And I know it's not going to be a problem for myself. Like when I create a video and I use this music, I'm going to get a takedown notice. We want to make sure people don't get takedown notices. That's part of our aim. And so if it's something that could somehow be traced back to someone else and then they get a takedown notice, then it completely defeats what we're doing. So for now, just try to be as clean as possible. And if you think there's a controversy, then just do something else. Just find a sax sound in a VST and play that instead. Like if you can, yes, are we going to have to do things that maybe, I always use Looperman as well.
The sax is fucking impossible to find a VST that works.
Well,
it is a tough
we're
one.
going to have to find a live sax player, which, by the way, we have a library from Mr. Steve Edwards, who has a live sax player. So that's going to be coming into MixterPlus. He is a producer. Some of you may know I'm producing a musical right now. And this producer, he works with live musicians and he wants to join MixterPlus. And he just so happens to have some saxophone samples of live players who play them. So we'll hook you up.
Okay, thank you. That's enough for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for understanding.
They're good questions.
And the questions are good. We want to be clear. I just wanted to give Aunt and Shaw a chance to weigh in. Either of you want to go first?
Shaw seems excited.
Shaw?
She's in the chat at least. She's not turning her mic on yet, but she seems excited in the chat.
Shaw, are you around? Okay, so I asked, yeah. Oh, she's asking Aunt to go first. Okay.
Hello. Again.
Hello. Don't you play saxophone?
No, but I got samples. I got you, fam. I had a friend who plays a saxophone, so we sampled them a while back. I have a very cool trumpet library that's free as well.
Great. As long as someone else can't go and use, just think of it anytime, like if someone else can go in and say, that's mine, or I'm using that too, and it will create any sort of overlapping. They call them overlaps in Content ID. We're avoiding overlaps. We want to avoid overlaps. So that's why we're trying to make this just completely original to our group of musicians for now. I know it's a lot. It's super technical, but Shaw, you are so great. You just like you're a creator of all original stuff. So, and you are as well. I mean, like, so for example, like you're using VSTs. What do you use? What's your process?
I use sounds, VSTs. I don't really use any loops. I create stuff. Even if I use some loop, I will create it from scratch.
Yeah.
So all my sounds are like mainly original stuff.
That's what we're looking for.
So that's fine. That's fine for me.
Beautiful. That's music to my ears. Literally. Thank you. So excited to have you part of this.
10 minutes and 15 seconds. Let's go.
I know, right?
It's like, hold on, I should open up 10. It's like 10 minutes, 50 seconds. She said 10 minutes.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. No, I'm the 10-minute guy. It's okay.
Just so you know, it started out as 23 minutes. So I edited it.
Oh, what? Give me 23 minutes. Hang over those minutes you stole from me. It's all good. That's fine. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I know we gave you the big challenge, but that's just
the big challenge. Wait.
Yeah, because you're so talented.
Oh, I want the 23 minutes now.
I mean, I'll send you the 23.
Yes.
But I edited it down because I thought, let's make it digestible for.
I think, it's that, like, just 10 minutes is already quite long, but yeah,
it is pretty long.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine. Then I'll start coming up with ideas tonight and tomorrow. See what I can.
Awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Shaw, you ready?
Hi, someone's behind you.
Is that your pizza?
Hello.
Yo, Shaw.
Hi, I don't know what. Oh, I'm a bird here. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much for including me, Emily. Madame Snowflake. I'm sorry. I'm outside at the moment because I've been indoors for the past. Actually, I'm not sure how many days now. Yeah, I think it's challenging at the moment. Like, there's just so many moving parts. And Grimes opened her vocals, like it's free to use for everyone now. I mean, she went all the way to the other end of the spectrum, which I think is pretty cool. But I am happy that we can't put in any AI for now, because I think there was a tweet by Kara before asking people what their thoughts are about AI. And I don't know. I think it's great that we're not using it for now. It's not never, but like what you guys, what everyone said in the beginning, it will be good for things to just be as clean as possible. And that would, and I like what Emily said about use this as a kind of challenge to create new things, create new content. And I think that's good for my brain, my ADHD brain. A challenge? Did you say challenge? That's really good for me. Did you say it's hard? Yes. What else? I think I was thinking of fundraising earlier, but I guess maybe someone already suggested that. I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be a crazy amount of money, because I know everyone is doing volunteer work and everyone has their own sources for X, Y, and Z, but might be a good, I know we have a Patreon, like a specific Patreon, but I don't know why I thought about fundraising separately, because I guess that would be for people who are not involved in CC Mixter or haven't been involved, but then seeing, I mean, you guys are all like a really affable, very attractive people. I mean, I don't mean that like just physically, I mean that too, but like, it's so fun to listen to everyone. I really struggle focusing on these things for long. So, and then I was really engrossed in what everyone was saying, Sakjo 22 and everyone else was here. So I thought maybe, if people heard about that, like, that's crazy. What do you mean you've been banned? I mean, this is an outrage. And I'm so shocked. I'm sorry, but this is the first time I'm hearing about this, literally. And I think more artists, musicians, creators, even fans of music, if they hear about it, they wanna maybe contribute maybe to Patreon. Maybe the Patreon can be the funnel for the fundraising. I don't know, but those are just ideas. And also like blurbs for everybody, reels, things like that. I love marketing. But anyway, yeah, that's it for me. Bye. I'm droning on and on. Sorry.
Shaw, you're incredible. And by the way, I have ADHD too, so you're not alone. And you'll probably all see that because I have this problem of I want to do everything and then I don't always. So I apologize for my my lack of executive function. And nobody knows this more than this admin team here. Sean had asked a question about, can you act as an agent to upload for other people you record? And that's why Matt came up with the featured. So, because I know, Shaw, you've done that, right? You've uploaded things that you had a co-writer and another producer, and they're not part of the community. And for now, we think that's okay, as long as that person has given you, they've empowered you to upload and you give them proper attribution in that extra field in Matt's form. So you would put it under your account in your uploads and add those contributors in that additional featured. I don't know, do we want to show them that again?
I do that on the Dreamers account. So the Dreamers account is I upload the dreams from members of the IASD community or outside of CC Mixter, and I always add the Dreamer's name. And then I always include them as a collaborator, their name. And then if possible in a description, I add a link if they have a website or something. So I do whatever I can in the form that we have to attribute and give credit.
My friend Richard, yes, Dave. Yeah, exactly. Like err on the side of remembering that attribution is currency. So a way we show value for one another and the other artists we create with, and how we show respect for each other's art, is making sure that they get the credit that they deserve. And we want to err on the side of, like what Susan was saying, include a link in the description. Like, you know, so some of these things aren't yet. This is very bare bones, what Matt has worked really hard to create, and functionality will continue to increase as we go, and your feedback. And so, you know, the bug report, I don't know if y'all saw that, and we can email it to you as well, and put your any bugs that you're experiencing, but also suggestions. And you know, we have to prioritize, as you, and I've tried to explain this to Sean, we have a lot of people that give us a lot of suggestions all the time. We have a priority list of suggestions. It's like 200 points long, but you know, we have to prioritize, like what do we have to do right now so we can keep going. And so it doesn't mean that those suggestions aren't valuable. Of course they are, but we are a small team. None of us get paid. This is not our job. We all work a day job. Is it our dream that eventually through MixterPlus, we'll actually get some money for the artists? Like artists will earn royalties for their work instead of other people getting royalties pretending to be us, other than Google monetizing every NC track that they're monetizing off of our backs. You know, should some of that music come to Artistic Media for CC Mixter and MixterPlus? Yes, it should. Will it? We hope. Will one day maybe Kara and Susan and Jason and Matt and me be able to quit our day jobs and we could actually make this our job and we could get paid to do it? That is my dream. I would love that. Could some of you join the staff and actually be, I mean, that would be amazing. We're a very long way from that right now. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. And so with a bigger dream and that vision, we are going forward. As musicians, we should receive value for our work. We were fine creating free music. I was fine giving my music away on mp3.com, millions of downloads. I loved doing that because it was going to people who were like me. They didn't have money either. They're creators, they're developers, they're gamers. They're creating just like I am. And so we were collaborating. But what's happened is our music is going to people who have a lot of money, commercial enterprises, commercial platforms, and we're getting nothing. And so that isn't okay. And that's what we're creating now. So thank you for being here and being part of this. We were trying to keep this to an hour and a half. I know you've given us a lot of your time. So if everyone's okay, we're going to create a Google group with you all in it so we can send things out. And the technology is going to keep increasing, and Matt's going to keep working as he has. And let's all just give Matt a moment of like super thanks for
You already
all
did that.
he's doing. But we're doing it again because it's a lot of work.
You're overdoing it at some point, right?
I'm a very exuberant person. I'm an artist, darling.
There's a question in the chat that I wanted to address real quick. It said, when should we start, uploading our stuff? The events typically have been a 2-week period of uploading samples and stems, and then a 2-week period of uploading remixes. We're kind of going on that without any sort of hard and fast deadlines or limits on it. As you can see, the remix, uploading a remix portion, we're still working on that to make sure that's good, but you can immediately start doing your stems and sample packs and things like that. Like I said, you go to the old CC Mixter site, you put the right tag on there and you leave it unpublished, and it gets into the system that way. So definitely stems, pels, samples, go ahead and start loading them in. We've got more than 20. I think we put emails out less than a week ago, and there's already 20 something pieces in there. So that part's going great. The remixes sometime this week, the remixes will be nice and reliable, and we'll be able to tell everyone, yeah, go ahead and do your thing.
Maybe what I'll do for right now, just until we get that ironed out, is I will publish the Dreaming Together submit form, and I'll just put it at the bottom of the submit forms page so people don't see it first. And I'll just say, if you don't know what this is, don't use it. And which is what we do for the secret mixer, and people don't seem to have used that. And we'll just use that form for now, and then Matt will let us know when the remix function, because it's a lot of moving parts. And so that you can upload right away. Because I know Christian and Bjorn, they have, I know you all have been working on something already, so you can upload right away. And it's just it's a work in progress. You're here to see all the warts and be part of that. And so be patient with us as we are working really hard. And I don't know, does anybody, Susan or Jason, you have any last things you want to say?
I'll just reiterate my thanks for everyone for being here and being part of this project. I mean, we are dreaming together in the real world, CC Mixter's new evolution as a space for us to create together. Jack Kerouac says, all human beings are also dream beings, and dreaming ties all mankind together. And, dreams, not just our sleep dreams, right? Tony says, if you dream well, you're going to live well, but also our visions. And I think just coming together in this way is a beautiful way to embody dream practice. Creativity is like a dream. And so I just want to thank you all again for being part of this. And I look forward to getting mixed up with you and mixing you all up and sharing what you create with the bigger community at the conference, which is June 18th. So that's kind of our drop deadline. I'll need a couple of days before then to kind of package the material to take to the conference. So just think like June 16th maybe is the drop deadline, but keep things coming, because even the playlist at the conference can be kind of a living thing. I share, I bring in a speaker, and then I have a display that shows CC Mixter and our playlist and whatnot. So thank you all very much. And if you have any questions about this, about the dreaming, about the conference, feel free to hit me up.
All right. Thank you,
I'm
Susan.
super excited. Susan, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone, Emily, for leading us through all of this, all of the creators that are here. This is going to be amazing. It already is. I'm inspired. It's oftentimes meetings like this, like, coming from a lot of experience and years and being in bands, when you have to like sit around and talk about the nuts and bolts of the business of music, it's like such a drag, right? Like, oh my God, like, can I just play my guitar? But in this situation, it's like, it's cool because it's like we're breaking new ground in a lot of new areas. So it's also inspiring to talk about this stuff, about how to use, like, what can we use and what can't we use and how do we do this, and new it's pushing new ground in a lot of different ways, and I just love that. That's why I'm here. That's why I've been here for as long as I have been, and I'm looking forward to being in the mix with all y'all.
Jason's the reason I'm here. Jason brought me to CC Mixter in 2004 after the Wired magazine launch. And so I'm really, really grateful. And yes, we will let you know. And what, the idea is communication with this group, and erring on the side of communication. And we're going to create new ways to do that. And, maybe we'll use Discord, or, we're going to keep coordinating together on how do we have an opportunity for your music. That's one of the things we want to use with, this library for, is I have all these connections through making this musical that are in film and TV, and then how do I share this group of musicians that are like family to me? How do I help get our music in more places? Because it's worthy of it. This is where I start to cry on Zoom. Our music is special. You are each really special. And I mean that in a positive way. I think our music is, like Matt was saying, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Our music is real. When I explain to people what is CC Mixter, we create music with meaning. We create music that's artistic. It's not just this, I'm trying to make a hit on the radio. Music that has some depth and soul and vulnerability and all of these things. And we do this together because we've created an environment that makes that possible. So let's keep doing it. And we're turning up the volume, and we're going through a growth spurt. And there might be times it's uncomfortable, but for the most part, this is our moment of opportunity to dream. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. Thanks, everybody.
Look at that smile. All right, I think we'll shut it down. You'll make this clip, probably edited version of the recorded Zoom call, available to people who want to go back and brush up on any sort of technical information they missed and things like that. But that's pretty much it.
I love your pigeon, Shaw.
What? Oh, there she is. All right. Cool.
Yay.
Face reveal.
Thank you for being the founding. Here we are, the founding group.
All right.
A real pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
I think you're the host, Emily. Go ahead and end it.
Peace out.
Adios.
Bye.
Hasta luego.